We started the day 3 just before the sunrise so that we can watch the sunrise in the savannah. It was a beautiful sight. As we proceeded, not far from our camp, we saw a hippo crossing our path. Our guide Job told us that sometimes hippos move from one water body to another. There were cracks on its skin, and an oxpecker was also feeding from its skin. As we proceeded along the banks of the stream, we could see a herd of Cape buffaloes.
Hey, what is that sound? It was as if someone telling us to go away. It was the go away bird. We also saw the yellow bishop and the grey headed kingfisher. A hammercock and egret were flying above us. A ring-necked dove was having its morning stroll.
We reached some open lands where we could see a number of giraffes. There were a number of small ones in the group. Alongside the giraffes, there were zebras and wildebeests. A couple of impalas were getting ready to lock horns to test their strength.
From the open grasslands, we moved closer to the stream where there were bushes. As we entered, we saw hyenas at a close proximity. These are the spotted hyenas, also known as laughing hyenas. Do you know hyenas are more closely related to mongoose and cats than dogs?
No, that is new information for me. As we moved along the side of the river, we saw more birds like the helmeted guinea fowl, rattling cisticola, pied kingfisher, lesser masked weaver, and the yellow-throated longclaw. We also saw a number of warthogs made famous by the character Pumbaa in movie Lion King. Have a look at the size of the tusk of this one.
We then stopped for some refreshments in a rocky hill from where we could have a good sight of the savannah. While Nandu continued his photography, I was having the company of a Ruppel's starling. Job told me not to feed the bird as it is prohibited in the park.
I was seeing a strange looking bird walking between the rocks. We later identified it as the southern ground hornbill. It is a vulnerable species as per IUCN Red List. A spur-wing lapping pair started attacking the ground hornbill. I think there was a nest somewhere nearby.
Hey, what is that behind the buffalo? Is that a mongoose? Yes, they were banded mongoose. Just then, we observed a baboon walking towards where we were sitting, and that was not a good sign. So we packed our food items and continued our safari.
Above our vehicle, there was an eagle circling and it looked different. Its beak and legs were red in color. It was the battler eagle. It is an endangered species. It was the second red list species we were spotting on that day. Although I missed spotting the secretary bird on the first day, I was lucky to spot them in close proximity. There was a bird like a falcon at a distance, and using his binoculars, Joe informed us that it is called the chanting goshawk.
Isn't the walk of the giraffe graceful? You can see them moving the legs in the same side together. Only giraffes and camels do this. It was getting hot, and even for the animals, they were looking for the shade. We could see a pride of lions in the shadows of the bush. Are you seeing what I am seeing? It is a baby lion. We waited for some time, but it never came out from its mother's side. A pair of jackals were also under the shade of the tree, and as we moved closer, they moved a bit further and waited for us to go before returning to the shade.
Look, there is an ostrich on the path in which we have to drive. It stood up and walked away as we moved closer. It was then we spotted the male, the red-necked Masai ostrich. It walked past us following its pair. We saw a juvenile battler eagle flying above us and also a red-capped lark in between the grass. A topi was standing guard above an anthill.
There was the lilac-breasted roller and red-billed oxpecker in a tree nearby, and some more birds which we could not recognize. Then we saw a wildebeest with a different color, but Joab told us that it is called hartebeest. As we moved to some green grassy lands, we saw a lone tusker coming out of a pool of muddled water.
I managed to get a good shot of the drongo. The crown lapwing was sitting close to the driveway, and as we moved closer, it stood up and gave us an angry look. We also spotted the angelic looking little bee eater. It was time for us to get back to our camp. On our way back, we saw a lappet-faced vulture hovering above us.
As we were crossing a stream, we saw the woolly-necked stork and a sacred ibis flew above us. We reached our camp, and as we were walking towards our tent, we saw the black flycatcher, the mousebird, and the black-headed oriole.
We sat in front of the tent watching the river. We then saw a mother and a baby elephant. They were moving closer to our tent. They came very close to our tent. Sitting there, we also saw a hyena crossing to the other side. End of another day. The moon has lit up the sky, and amidst all the African wild, we went to sleep. My next video is going to be on the last day of our safari, and the highlight will be some action around the famous Mara river. Please do not forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel. Asante.